Good evening. Good evening to all in attendance. It is 6 p.m. and we want to respect your time, so we're going to get started. Thank you very much for register for this webinar. We've opened safely. What next? Before starting with the active webinar, we want to go over a couple of reminders. Please notice that all attendees are muted. Questions can be asked in the chat box or by raising your hand, and the host will unmute you if there is time. If not, we will take your questions and respond later by email, but we would love to hear about your questions. A copy of the meeting recording will be available and posted onto We've Opened Safely website in the next few days, so look out for that. We also want to make this webinar interactive. There will be a series of poll questions. Simply click the button on the screen to vote. And that is to keep the conversation going, so we would love to hear your feedback. We want to welcome you again to this webinar. My name is David Rodriguez, Economic Development Manager for Osceola County. First, we want to thank our partners, City of Kissimmee, City of St. Cloud, the UCF Business Incubation Program, Kissimmee Osceola Chamber of Commerce, the St. Cloud Chamber of Commerce, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Metro Orlando, the African American Chamber of Commerce, the Puerto Rican Chamber of Commerce of Central Florida, Prospera, the SBDC, St. Cloud Main Street, and Kissimmee Main Street. We have a very talented panel for our conversation this evening. We'll hear from Dr. Jose Otero from Otero Consulting Group, Rafael Perez from the Small Business Development Centers, Matt Stetson from Accomplice Brewery, Esther Vargas from the UCF Incubator in Kissimmee, and from Antoinette Forbes, Economic Development Manager with the City of St. Cloud. And we look forward to a robust discussion this evening about what it takes to recover from such a brutal 2020 and how to strategize around reimagining your business, expand your market, and thrive in this new normal of virus anxiety, mask wearing, and social distancing. Since we want to have an interactive session, we want to know who is in attendance. So first, we're going to have our first poll of the night. We're going to give you a couple of seconds so you can post your answers and get an idea of who is with us tonight. All right, I think that we can take a look at the answers.
And David, before we review the answers, we're hearing some comments that people are having trouble with the audio. So I'm not sure, is it too low or is it feedback? But perhaps you can test it by speaking a little bit louder. And if anyone can comment in the chat box to let us know how you sound.
Okay, I am trying closer to the mic now, and I hope that this fixes the problem. Do you see positive feedback?
Yeah.
Great.
I do. That was an immediate positive feedback.
That is good. We have an active and very awake audience tonight. So let's take a quick look at the answers to the questions if we can. All right, so the majority, almost 90% of the people that are attending this webinar are from Kissimmee. And most of you heard about this webinar through the email and the newsletter, so that works. And the rest just knew about it from the chambers and word of mouth. So thank you to the chamber partners for spreading the word. And since returning to an at-work schedule, how do you feel? 90% of the attendees feel great and seeing that life is coming back to normal. So that is great. So let's move on in our presentations. Let me see if this slide will move. Great. We're going to hear from Dr. Jose Otero first. He's the first speaker of the night. Joe prides himself as an advocate for the business of education and serves as a catalyst of quality, leveraging over 30 years in the education industry. He holds a doctor's degree in business administration, educational specialist diploma in school administration, master's degree in school leadership, and a bachelor's degree in psychology. Through his consulting firm, Otero Consulting Group, Joe's successful work in 4 continents and numerous states focuses on the complex business of school operations. He works closely with owners and administrators of tech institutes, K-12, colleges, universities, to raise their level of performance, compliance, advanced credentials, financial effectiveness, and economic impact. Joe is going to talk to us about the complex discipline of pivoting, turnaround, facing challenges. So Joe, help us understand pivoting, please.
Thank you, David. It's interesting because up until basically March, nobody really understood how well supported their structure was in the business field. So for example, you were an entrepreneur, you went and you opened up a barbershop or a hair salon, and you felt fairly comfortable that as long as you were connected to the people you serve, you'd have repeat business. However, even when times were hard and the market shifted and people were unemployed through in our history, we always felt comfortable that eventually things come around. This was a little different. This is something we've never experienced. And in the 30 plus years in my career, I've never experienced when local government and hospitals, pretty much every entity that we relied on, all of a sudden came to a screeching halt. David, if you can let me switch over to my screen.
Sure.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
All right, fantastic. Now, keeping in mind that, and I trust, let's see, you should be able to see it now. Let me know if it's an issue. At some point in everyone, and even most of you watching here that are business owners, you know that was that moment when you realized, wow, I have officially just ceased operation. This is so impactful, I don't see anyone else moving. We were faced with the same problem the major corporations were facing, and everyone froze. So let's rewind the clock just a little bit. A few months ago, here we were all frozen, and even Disney, Universal, right? The big guys, everybody stopped. For the first time in history, we were all in that front line, in that start line. You know, we weren't there when Disney started. We weren't there when Universal started. We weren't there when major organizations started. But here we were with an opportunity, and I call this an opportunity because in a few slides you're going to see why. We were at that same start line, right? Picture yourself in a sweatsuit with some Nikes, and here you are on that line, and we're all waiting for that gun to go off to start this race, and we all started in the front. So this has been a game changer, and I can tell you that many businesses are thriving. Unfortunate events, but they are thriving now, based on what the conditions were and how they pivoted. How did they shift into a new strategy? And I even put the definition up on the screen, and it says permanently or temporarily making a shift to a part of or a whole of your company. And the business interruption event, most people have never heard that word before. Statisticians and a lot of folks on my end, that we do a lot of research in business affairs, we understood that that was also always possible, but how do you prepare? Because we don't know which one it was. So stating that, I have some really basic, I mean, I can do this lecture for 3 hours, but I'm gonna in 6 or 7 minutes, I'm going to give you an idea of what should have happened and indicative of the people that did survive. What was the difference? Everybody says, how come that one made it and this one didn't? So giving you an example, we have 3 rules on the bottom, and this is, everybody understands these rules, but a lot of people fail to implement this. Rule number 1, cash is king or queen. If you have cash, you can make moves. If you don't have cash, you've just succumbed to the waves. Rule number 2, always plan ahead. You've heard that phrase. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And step number 3, concept to revenue. This was the one that got everyone lost. Most of our clients, we were able to shift them over and we had 0 loss, and they didn't really skip a beat when we converted them into the next concept of revenue. It was not things that they were doing before, but because of these ideas, they were able to continue. Now, concept to revenue is what got most people stuck. Some folks knew to hold on to the cash, but they didn't plan. What do you do with that cash? They started investing it in things that they didn't know how it was going to turn out. Let me move this one over. Now, on this slide, I have a couple of things, and I'm going to just talk very quickly about it. The concept to revenue means that you're going to think differently. We had organizations that were universities, rather large universities, and they were already struggling because here we have 300 to 500 or 1,000 students that could no longer attend campus. We were the ones that actually came up with the idea of let's shift everybody online. We spoke to the Florida Department of Education and we said, hey, these are private schools. We're shifting them online. We're able to now keep them going. Students shifted. LMS companies just started making a lot of money at that point because now they're starting to provide instruction. So we shifted, we showed the model to the state. The state says, okay, you're approved to have your clients do that. 2 weeks later, they issue a letter, everybody's going online. So that little idea came from Kissimmee. And I always like to brag about that because, you know, my employees here, I tell them, you guys work hard and, you know, you make some changes, but you're kind of silent heroes sometimes. So, and obviously other folks thought of it too, but we took the first initiative because we were, again, dealing with corporate. So one of the things that we noticed and the help that we gave them, and hopefully this brings ideas to some of the folks here, are the industries and the services. We know that the folks that did produced liquor and other forms of alcohol, all of a sudden went into producing, right? And producing other things. And they were able to at least keep their numbers. The manufacturing, education, and foreign investors. While everyone here was trying to figure out what to do with what I have now, you have people from 196 other countries, and they were the well-to-do that came here. And most of you didn't realize that we were flooded with an influx of visas being requested based on $100 million or, you know, $10 million, whatever they brought with them, and invested here. So a lot of folks connected to those people, and most of you know some of them that came over and became investors, and your company was able to float along with theirs. So that's a big piece. And in the next 2 years, we're projecting that foreign investors are going to be a bigger part of small business America. We're no longer seeing them going for the big corporations because they froze, and some of them are still hurting. So this was another piece. Now, your clients have evolved into a much more sophisticated operator. That means that your clients are shopping around. It's very hard to stick with the people that you knew were your clients. They're moving around. So now you have to start thinking about who else is your client. And there are people that might not know they can be your client. You have to think outside the box. This is part of your plan. You have some cash. You can keep going. Now here's your plan. Now, I always say the international footprint is a must. You're going to survive in the US for the next 5 years. You're going to start looking at investors. You're going to start looking at the international footprint. Keep in mind, you have to have an idea that you can convert to revenue. Without that, you're missing what makes business. And I always tell people, unless you're making money, it's not business. So you can have a great idea, you can have an establishment. However, that is an issue when you can't connect concept to revenue. Now, very quickly, and this is where I say breathe, because you have to have a lot of patience. You have to have the heart for this. You're being asked to recreate yourself. I've been doing what I've been doing for 33 years. I have employees that have to make a living. We ran, and again, thank God, we got very lucky and we were able to shift. and they were able to sustain their employment. But it was a scary moment for all of us. Not something I'm ever going to plan to be a victim of again as we started diversifying things ourselves. Now, where do you start? First thing is you have to create a plan today. While you're doing well and at least you're starting to breathe a little bit, start thinking of your next move. Collaborate. I always believe in the Lone Ranger approach. I own my company. I started my company. I'm one of these, like the old guys from the early 1900s. Yeah, this is what I started. And then I realized you can die very quickly that way. So collaboration, start getting to know folks that can assist in what you do. And at the same time, it doesn't become a drain in your resources. Lastly, you have to manage that relationship. You have to manage that new entity. You have to manage every aspect of what you expect to see. My phrase is inspect what you expect. If you expect this to work, what are you doing to test that that's actually going to happen? If you have someone telling you, hey, I got a contact, I'm going to work out this way, make sure those things are happening. So keep in mind, if you inspect what you expect, you are now learning the first processes on discipline. Most of our clients that we meet, and we do compliance, and most of them go out of compliance when they lose their self-discipline. Keep a tab on your self-discipline. Make sure you feel that you're in control. Make sure that you discipline yourself so that you can move your agenda and dedicate the proper time and educate yourself if you need to create that next process. If you notice on both of the slides, you would see books on the sides. They're 99-cent books. I recommend to anyone who's never gone to a formal business course in their life. This particular book, The 1 Minute Manager, is all about managing your time and getting that self-discipline going. It's a really short read. I encourage everybody to go after it. The one prior to that was called Who Moved My Cheese, which was, I thought, the ideal situation. Again, 99 cents in Amazon, where your money, your concept and revenue just shifted someplace else. It's there. You just have to look for it. Where is it? The things have changed. All right. So I'm trying to keep it short. I don't want to drown you with a lot of information, but certainly feel free to ask questions. David, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Joe. It is so important that we remember the basic rules that Joe just told us about. Plan, create a new direction, collaborate, always use the resources around you and collaborate, and manage, inspect what you expect. That was a great reminder. So now we're going to move to our next panelist of the night. Let me just move forward to Rafael Perez. Rafael is a business consultant and area manager for SBDC in the Kissimmee, Osceola territory. His extensive business and teaching experience, when combined with a strong background as a marketing and business development professional, makes him an ideal choice to consult with and assist the SBDC clients as they navigate the challenges faced by small businesses as they seek profitable long-term growth. Prior to joining SBDC, Rafael was a marketing executive at Control Microsystem in Winter Park, so he comes from the private sector as well. In addition, he has been a course director at Full Sail University and a member of the adjunct faculty of Polytechnic University, also in Winter Park. So Rafael is going to talk to us, and I'm going to stop sharing so Rafael can work on his slides. But Rafael is going to talk to us about marketing. Rafael, please help us understand the importance of marketing, especially in these challenging times for small businesses. Rafael, check your mic.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. My bad.
There you go.
My bad. Like I said, my name is Rafael Perez. I'm a business consultant with the Florida SBDC at UCF. Thank you for having me at this kind of a summit. Today's my topic is marketing. So marketing is funny because when there's no sales, pretty much there's no business. It's like like Mr. Otero said, it's so critical that you have revenues coming in. Let me see here. Are you able to see the slides? Is it good? Hello? Hello?
Yes, we see them.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I just heard nothing. Okay. Well, like, let me just tell you a little bit about the Florida SBDC. We've been around in the state of Florida since 1976. We're partially funded by the SBA, also by the state of Florida, locally by the county and the city, and hosted by UCF. So with that said, we're here pretty much to help businesses navigate, especially during this uncertain times and into the future. Like you said, 2020 has been a challenging year for many businesses. And a lot of people or companies are either gone under or they're kind of figuring out a way to kind of survive and be profitable. And it's not easy learning how to swim while you're swimming. It is a daunting task, but it can be done. There's a lot of great resources besides the Florida SBDC, a lot of people resources, whether it be the SBA, organizations are injecting a lot of their resources to make that happen. Now, today's topic was marketing. So I'm just going to briefly give you a kind of overhead overview why marketing is such a critical component of your business, especially in year 2020. So when we're talking about marketing, it's easier when the economy is going and everybody's kind of in a happy-go-lucky mode and buying. But when marketing becomes very challenging, when you have to kind of deal with the 4 Ps, and obviously the 4 Ps are product, price, promotion, and place, and that's what the organization has to deal with. But at the center of it all is the customer. And customers, you need to kind of make decisions in the best interest of companies, of the individual. And that's sometimes easier, harder to do, especially in daunting tasks when so many things are happening at the same time, dealing with your personnel, dealing with the economy, dealing with shifting items in the economy. But one thing just wanted to keep in mind, when we're talking about products, right? That's what we have to offer. The customers are seeing solutions. What do you have to offer me that it will be something worthwhile for me to buy into? When we're talking about price, customers are looking at the value proposition. When you're thinking about promotion, we're talking about the communications. What type of communication are you having with your customer base? When we're talking about place, they're thinking about convenience. So a good starting place is always dealing with your marketing assessment and analysis. That is kind of a top level overview. They're not in importance, but this is where a good starting point. Defining your business objectives, understanding your marketing goals. Maybe your marketing goals starting in 2020 was totally different from what is now and how you're going to finish a year, but understanding what are the goals going into 2021. What is your target audience? Do you have any new markets that you go in or pursuing? I put 2 asterisks because I would like to spend some time talking a little bit about competitive analysis and tactics action plans. When we're talking about competitive analysis, obviously what we're looking at here, exploitation of competitive advantage. So let's just say, for the most part this year, the majority of the clients that I've been working with, they're going or merging into the digital realm. They were tapping into how do I conduct business to online to I need to learn how to do business online because no longer I could rely on my store that is closed to generate revenue. So as a result of that, a lot of business models have developed, especially e-commerce, whether you're drop shipping, reselling, using private labels, manufacturing, handcrafting, how you sell your products, whether it be physical, digital, a service. Is it through your website or marketplace? Your cost, the way you attract customers, whether it be you're using search engine optimization, content creation, paid advertising, or even social media. The platforms that you could be using, whether it be Shopify, WooCommerce, etc. Everything at the end of the day is about aligning your strength as a company to the market opportunities. So also things that you need to keep in mind is a unique selling proposition, what makes you different than other people in the marketplace. the messaging, the content strategy. Tactics is kind of the implementation, how to explore or take advantage of new opportunities that exist in the marketplace. And then lastly, your budget, which is typically a percentage of your projected sales. That is all very important things to keep in mind. The benefit of doing this is that it gives you a clear focus as far as how to direct your attention, and it gives you a competitive advantage. My question to you tonight is, how do you want to compete in today's marketplace? Do you want to compete on price, quality, selection, value added, or service? And there's not a perfect scenario. And I will tell you, based on my experience, even when you look in the marketplace, you can't be all things to everyone. So you need to kind of choose your battle depending on what's your competitive advantage, what's your strength, and kind of keep in mind customization. Now, I'm going to share with you some thinkers as far as strategy that I would like to share with you briefly. One of them is Ansoff, and he talks about there's different kind of risks associated with market strategies, all the way from market penetration to diversification. Whether you are, for example, doing business in St. Cloud, and you want to grow the business in St. Cloud because maybe a lot of your competitors they're under, or you're an opportunity to take advantage of that. That is a very safe strategy because you are operating within the realm that you understand. And maybe you say, you know what, I have pretty much tapped in, I saturated the market. I think there's no growth there. I would like to grow, but still in St. Cloud. Maybe I need to introduce similar complementary products that I could add to my base. And that will be a strategy that you could take as a company. Or you could take a company, go into the second column and look at new markets. Whether it be maybe introducing the same products that you have in St. Cloud, maybe you want to expand them, maybe to the Four Corners, or maybe to the Hunters Creeks, or maybe to the Polk County. So that will be a new market you're pursuing. Or and then the most riskiest of all would be exploring into a new market with a product that you have even tested in your own market. So there's different ways to go about it, but I'm just trying to tell you that you need to kind of figure out what works for you based on your resources. Now, resources play a key role because anything in business costs money, even to execute a strategy. A lot of companies, they could come up with a great idea, sometimes a great plan, but sometimes the execution just falls apart. So sometimes less is more. So this is another strategy by Michael Porter, talking about segmentation versus a broad versus narrow scope. So let's just say, for example, that I was into the market of selling bicycles. But the reality is that I sell a high-end bicycle. So my market wouldn't be your typical Joe Blow who rides bicycle as a hobby, but more so a cyclist who maybe belongs to a team or does it professionally, who are willing to pay a higher value per those units of bicycles. They typically cost in thousands of dollars. And then you have your cost strategy. A cost leader will be kind of the Walmart mentality where they're competing on price. Usually when I have conversations of this nature with business owners, I typically tell them, you need to kind of figure out a way to kind of set yourself apart, kind of differentiation strategy. It's like going to the grocery store or a convenience store and selecting a bottle of water. You want them to select a bottle of water, not because it's the lowest price point, but something because it's unique and different. And that will be kind of the branding message or the reason maybe they like to buy a product that is brewed locally or maybe manufactured locally instead of being imported or from a different state. That plays a role in the decision making. So some marketing tips that I would like to share with you. They're not in any particular given order, but knowing your customer and understanding that customers change over time, their behavior, understanding their situation, their dynamics, that is very important to keep making decisions. Remember that the chart that I showed you about the 4 Ps and in the middle was a customer? Understanding that if I'm making a decision, if I'm making changes to whatever I do as a business, I really want to make sure that I stay true to that cause, that I'm making decisions based on their best interest. Also services as well, some tips, a personalized service. Customization is a great way to set yourself apart from your competitors, maybe creating a loyal customer base, offering technical advice, and the list goes on. As far as creative marketing activities, I put this slide here because it is kind of a full circle. Everybody talks about having great customer service, but it's really hard to have really good customer service. But the reality is that you could always make it better for your customer, whether it be your website, whether you're introducing new lines of business or products or services. That is important. Another thing that we kind of forget, and no, I don't want to go too much over my time, experience is very important. How your company interacts with the customers and what type of experience customers are having with your brand or your company. It's a funny kind of a picture here. But the idea here is that you really want to create some value added, whether it be a one-stop shop or even as a simple thing. You don't have to be all high tech to just follow up on calls, right? So there's some things there sounds very silly, but being friendly, sounding genuinely interested in providing solutions to your customers and not a cookie cutter solution, understanding every customer has their own unique needs. And sometimes just listening and understanding their particular challenges could open opportunities for you. And at the end of the day, it's about creating a good experiences all the way from loyal customers. But what really gets to me here, and this is a list, creating a good reputation and fostering hometown relationships. That is very key, especially in the Osceola County market. A lot of people, a lot of companies that do business with other businesses that are established in Osceola County, or even particularly in Central Florida. A lot of buyers as well, consumers, they try to make decisions based on that factor as well. So where we started is with the assessment of marketing, right? So let's look at that for a second and say, hey, that's the evaluation key. Understanding the dynamics of the growth component, meaning you evaluate, you plan, how I started the year, maybe pre-COVID, post-COVID, and where you are now, how you're finishing the year, how do you make the strategic plan heading into 2021, you plan and you execute, and then you kind of go in circle again and you evaluate, okay? So with that said, I wouldn't say don't evaluate you don't have to do this every day, but definitely monthly or quarterly. Don't do it annually. It might be too late. The market is changing so rapidly depending on the industry you're operating. So there are some additional resources that could be very beneficial to you as an organization. If you go simply to floridaspdc.org, and also in addition that locally here in Central Florida, within our organization, we have our COVID relief programs, business resiliency plan, and we're helping clients not only analyze their websites, but also creating a digital marketing plan. If you're interested in learning more about that, feel free to contact us. A simple way to set up for consulting sessions, or feel free to reach out to our office. I believe there's some packages that they were going to be handed out, and hopefully you have our contact information. With that said, thank you so much for your attention, and I wish you continued success and a strong 2020.
Very good. Thank you, Rafael. It was so important. Many good reminders about keeping the focus on the goals and determine a competitive advantage and the importance of customization. That was great reminders. Thank you. Now moving on to our next panelist of the night. Let me make sure that I am sharing. All right. Now we're going to have Matt Stetson. Matt is the owner and CEO of Accomplice Beverage Company. Matt has spent his entire life involved with the food and beverage industry, working both for large and small companies, as well as his own ventures. His most recent endeavor began in 2014 when he founded the Accomplice Brewery. Originally was set as a traditional brewery, but then this company has gone through several changes to become what it is today. So the Accomplice Beverage Company is now a diverse company with not only a winery and cider works, but also opening experimental beverage company, a traditional dry wine cider facility, and also seltzer and soda company soon. So Matt has seen it all. Matt, how did you achieve this, and what can we learn from your experience?
Well, actually, I first want to check, make sure everybody can hear me. Can everybody hear me? I know we've been having some problems. I see some head nods. That's good. Okay, great. So, well, I kind of want to talk about, first I want to say how great the presentations before me really were, application-wise, you know, how that really is important. Those things are fantastic as far as marketing, having a plan, everything like that. In order to pivot and really apply and become, you know, successful through a stressful time, whether it be a hurricane or a pandemic or whatever, all of the business basics are so important. Everything that the panelists before me have spoken about, I actually have them here on my own. And don't forget your own experience. You've just made it through a bad and difficult time. So what I would first recommend is, before you forget, write down all of the stressful problems that you have just had. Make it part of your new plan, redevelop a plan to go along with your business plan. And if you don't have a business plan, you're crazy. You need to have a business plan to operate your business correctly, successfully through not only the hard times, but the good times, to have direction in your company. Those things are incredibly important. We live in Florida, and all of these horrible things happen to us on a regular basis, and we need to be ready for them. Hurricanes, we get a week. Great, not enough time to plan. So you have to have that plan way, way in advance. You have to have your supply chains in order. You have to make sure you have alternatives and extra places you can get product. You have one place that has the best price, great. Have 4 or 5 more just in case, because you don't know what's going to happen. They have an issue. Right now we have issues in China getting product, and all over the place, all over the world, import is shot. All the things that we consume in this, you know, basically in this economy we're in now, they come from different places. You got to have several locations to get those things. You have to have your funding in order. So Mr. Otero, actually Dr. Otero hit that right on the nose. Cash is king. He's right. And you know what? You have to have other places, not just your cash, because your cash is probably not going to be enough for everything. So I would highly recommend having several places to get funding. Have your SBA contacts, you know, go to your bank, make friends with your lenders, go to your customers, find somebody who's got a lot of money that loves you, find whatever you can for funding sources to help you get through difficult times. Everything I just named, we did. So you have to have 7,000 irons ready to go in the fire anytime, because you just don't know when you're going to need them. All of those things are important. Know your customer base. There's nothing more imperative than knowing your customer base. Get in touch with whoever it is that's purchasing your product. Learn who they are, learn who their friends are, learn their buying patterns, pay attention, stay in contact. There's nothing more critical than having an incredibly strong knowledge of the people who are already supporting your business. So when things go south, you already have a pretty strong idea as far as what they're going to need. Soon as it hits, you need to get a hold of them. Social media, text, email, have their phone numbers, ask them how they're doing, do live streams, do YouTube, do as much as you can, as fast as you can when something is happening to your business that threatens your business. There is nothing more important than speed. You need to connect with them quickly and immediately and successfully, as much of your customer base as possible. Without that speedy connection, and I know we all get depressed. I know we all have those heavy weights that are on our bodies. I know we have all the stress and problems, but the truth of the matter is you have to remain dedicated and diligent in making those changes and seeing what you need to do to connect with your customer base. You have to have that relationship with them. And I would say another strong one is, before this ever hits, remember, modesty and humble is not bad. Stay below your operating costs. Operate your business as a cash-rich business. Pay for things as fast as you can. Do not overfinance your business if you can help it. Those things are all going to come in handy when the time comes. If you're already extended going into a bad situation, guess what? You got nowhere else to go. So if you're operating in a cash-rich environment and you're operating your business in a lean and mean kind of way when the times are good, fantastic. You always have money. Put some of it in the bank. Don't blow it, because you're going to need it at some point without a fail. Plus, those loan options remain open to you when you need them the most. And those are things that are going to get you through any sort of problems and issues in a pandemic or a hurricane or any other horrible thing that may happen to you. We don't even know. All of your supply dries up. Who knows? Stuff happens. So when you're ready to pivot, that's the thing. Execute quickly, accurately, connect with your customer base, have your supply chains and all of your other options ready to go. Once you're there and you're connecting with your customers, you want to be sympathetic. You want to literally connect with them. You want to understand their issues. At that point, once you've spoken with them, you can get their feedback. Their feedback's imperative because you are a successful business person already. They like you, they want your product. And actually, when things are really going the worst for them is when they want the comfort things that they have from you the most. So once you remember that, you just have to think of, how can I deliver this? Do I have a service? Okay, well, I've been shut down. So I'm a hairstylist, or I'm a bar, or I'm whatever. How do I connect with my clientele? Okay, let's get on live streams. Let's do pay-per-view service. Hey, there's no haircuts? Guess what? I'm doing haircut classes, all accurate, all online. Whatever it is that you can do, find out what your customer's problem is. They're gonna have a problem. We're all having a problem. So you want to talk to your customers, get that feedback and re-engage with them and figure out where your expertise and your services fit into their world currently. That analyst, as far as what they need, is going to be what gets you through to the next point. For us, it was pretty easy. I make alcohol. They drink alcohol. You drink alcohol. I drink alcohol. We're all under stress. Alcohol's good. So for me, it was easy. I opened this website right here behind me, which we didn't have before this point. It took me 8 hours to get a skeleton version. It was terrible, of our website. You know what? I did $3,000 of sales in 48 hours. That was monster because no one else had a way of getting product to my customer base. So we capitalized and actually made a tremendous amount of sales in that short time due to speed, accuracy, and connection to my customer base. They don't need all the services. They just want something. And if you can continue to build on that, that's what's important. Speed, speed, speed. Get to them quick. Once you've gotten that, you can start to talk to them some more. Maybe you can offer another service. Maybe you can figure out what you have a connection for. Okay, cool. You know what? All right, you don't need haircuts anymore. Let me get you some fine things that are going to help you. Maybe you need scissors or combs. For us, maybe you want something other than just plain old signature cider. Let me get you something else, another flavor. Get creative. Don't ever give up. You have to have that mentality of, I was successful before this happened. And if I stay relentless and I stay connected to my customer base, they were already buying from me. How do I continue that service to them? And that is what's going to get you through any sort of catastrophic event. That connection to your customer base is more than anything super important. And it is that got my company through to where it is now, where we are now serving alcoholic beverages like seltzers, and we're doing wines, and we're getting ready to open up a dry cider facility. It was an experiment during the pandemic and people loved it. So now we're doing a dry facility here in St. Cloud. It is those types of creativity and relentlessness that are going to get you through to the end. And that is what I wanted to deliver as my message for my presentation to everyone tonight.
Awesome, Matt. Thank you very much for those real life experiences. It is so rewarding to hear of someone that was able to make it through challenging times and formulate a plan, and the importance of implementing quickly. That was very, very good. Now we're going to move to our next poll of the night. How many employees does your company have? And do you sell your product online? We want to know about you and your operations this time. We'll give you a couple of seconds so you can answer. All right, let's see the results. All right, about half are in the small type of business, 2 to 5 employees, 5 to 25, a quarter of you, and the other quarter is very, very small, 2 or less. And most of you, 75%, don't sell your product online. So maybe that is an area of opportunity that we can all explore so we can continue thriving in this new normal. Great. All right. Well, let's move now to our next presenter, Esther. And let me stop sharing so Esther can upload.
Excuse
All right. Esther Vargas is site manager of the University of Central Florida at the UCF Business Incubator in Kissimmee, Florida. She has been a venture development professional for the last 20 years, facilitating economic development and ecosystem building and establishing venture development and accelerator programs. Esther currently serves as the chair of the board of the International Business Incubation Association, and she's also a certified GrowthWheel advisor. So talking about GrowthWheel, Esther, tell us more about GrowthWheel.
All right. Thank you, David. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. I appreciate this opportunity to provide everyone here with a quick introduction to what GrowthWheel is. And it is a valuable tool that we use with our UCF Business Incubation Program clients. So I am going to put it on the screen, but also on your calendar invite for this event, there is a link to this PDF. It's an interactive PDF that you can download on your computer and use either on an electronic basis, so you can fill it out digitally, or you can print it out and fill it out manually if you prefer. So actually, I'm going to ask Antoinette if she can, just in case, repost that link on the chat so that everyone can know what we're talking about and have access to it while I have it up on the screen as well. So all right, so if you would please let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, we see it, Esther.
Perfect. Great. So as I said, the link is in the chat box, so you can feel free to download this on your computers and work from it. So quick introduction to GrowthWheel. GrowthWheel is a visual way to look at your business, right? So you can think of it as a visual toolbox for entrepreneurs and small business owners to make decisions and take actions. And as I said, you can either use it on paper or you can fill it out in the cloud. So as you see here, there are four color-coded quadrants, and each of these colors or quadrants represents a different challenge that your business has as you look at ways to grow your business, right? And these four challenges are really the same for most businesses, no matter what growth stage you're in, no matter what size company you have, if you're a one-person business or if you have 100 employees, doesn't matter what industry you're in, these are common challenges that all businesses have as they grow. So as you look at this, I'm sure that these challenges are not new to you, right? You're probably very familiar with all of these different categories here, and this is really no surprise to you, but maybe you're just not used to seeing it in this collective, comprehensive way to, get a 360 perspective on your business. So going through the challenges real quickly, the first challenge that business owners have is to offer an attractive business concept, right? So you got to have a product, a service, technology that is large enough, that has a large enough market right? That wants to buy it. So if you're an early stage company, you might be creating a product for the first time. If you're an established company or, you know, growing fast, then maybe you're working on improving on or adding to the concept that you already have, right? So you gotta have that market position defined. And then if you've got a great product or service, then you also have the challenge of establishing a strong organization to actually deliver that concept, right? So you have the challenge of recruiting the right employees, finding the right partners, maybe suppliers, maybe vendors. You've got to have your organizational processes in place and all of the people and the resources that make it possible to deliver your value up here, right? And so now, even if you have a great business concept and you've got a solid team of people and partners, well, you don't have a business until you're generating revenue. And that revenue can only come from customers. And so your third challenge as a business is to build lasting customer relationships, right? So getting new clients, keeping them, and growing that customer base through these activities. And then there's the fourth challenge that all businesses have of maintaining profitable and sustainable operations. So having a good cash flow and managing the logistics and the operations of the business effectively and efficiently, right? So what GrowthWheel does is to break down these four main challenges into these 20 focus areas, right? And that gives you the full 360-degree perspective on your business so that you can look at it as a whole in a holistic way and avoid blind spots and make smarter decisions. So that's, in a nutshell, how we get the GrowthWheel framework that you see here. And in essence, really, it's just a color-coded checklist, right? With in a circle. So really, it's a very simple but powerful tool that helps us to look at our business from a holistic perspective, from a 360-degree bird's eye view, and talk about and figure out how we can grow the business. Okay, so as I said, this is an interactive PDF. So I want us to take the next, say, 5 to 10 minutes. We'll see how long it takes. I've had clients that can do it as quickly as 5 minutes, and you know, sometimes it might take more than 10 minutes if there's more complexity to the business, right? So really, this is meant to be like a quick and dirty screening assessment for you to take of your business, just really easily and quickly. So not really meant to do an in-depth analysis on each of these categories. So I'll demo for you how to go about this. So if you look at each of these, they would represent 25% for 100%. So let's say you feel that, and we're looking at the time frame of today, right? The present. Forget about how much success or how many issues you've had in the past. And, you know, doesn't matter what your future projections are. Where is your business today? So let's look at it from a present perspective. Okay, so I think that, you know, my business idea, I've had to pivot. I've got a pivot in mind as a result of COVID that I'm still toying with. So I'm going to say that maybe I'm 50% on my business idea today. Okay. As a result of that, I think I'm going to develop a new product. And so again, I already have my product portfolio from before developed, but since I'm thinking right now of developing a new product, I'm going to make that 75%, and so on and so forth, right? So you just really quickly evaluate where you are in each of these areas, and just fill in each of the categories. I don't have any legal issues right now. Today, I feel like I'm well covered on contracts and intellectual property protection and anything related to legal, so that's not a concern. I think with this new concept that I'm playing around with and this new product development, I'm probably going to have to expand facilities. So I feel like I need to get on that relatively soon. My IT systems, we can run with that for a while. All right. Oh, that was here. So yeah, so hopefully you get the idea of how to go about filling this out, just, as I said, a quick and dirty. All right. And once you've done that, now, and again, this is not meant to be a deep analysis because you're already familiar with where you are in your business right now. So again, you're just probably not as used to seeing it in this, in the grand scheme of things like this. So once you've evaluated where you are in each of the focus areas, then you're going to go ahead and see which then should be your, say, 2 to 4 areas of focus. What are the 2 to 4 priority areas that you should be focusing on right now based on this assessment? So I'm looking here, and just on the surface, it looks like customer portfolio would be one. And again, you can click on this and it'll automatically circle it for you. I need to get new employees, facilities, and branding. Okay, so those actually happen to be 4 that ranked the lowest, right? So, and I say on the surface because this may need another level of assessment, right? So maybe you feel like, well, I'm okay on branding, but really I need to do communications and public relations is more important for me right now, getting the word out, than branding. So I'm gonna go ahead and select that as a priority over this one, right? So this is the way to play around that. So let's take 5 to 10 minutes and have you do this really quickly and select your 2 to 4 priority areas, and then we'll come back after that. So go ahead if anybody has any questions. If you're unable to download the assessment, then please let us know, and we will get it to you after the webinar via email or some other method. So we'll come back at about 7:05.
Excuse me, David, while filling out the assessment, we do have a question in the chat box.
Yes.
Are you able to see it, or would you like?
Would you, while I find it, if you see it, could you just make it?
Sure. Absolutely. The question is there any other area of the assessment that are more important than others? Any areas that cause alarm if we are not in a good range?
Okay, so I will answer that by
I
saying,
believe that question.
can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so to the person who asked that question, so this is really a relative assessment. So you're not comparing yourself against anyone, right? It's really, you know, as a small business, all of these areas of focus are important, right? So you're constantly juggling them, and this assessment is meant to help you to focus on what is most important so that you're giving it your undivided attention and, you know, not spreading your efforts across trying to do everything and not really making an impact in a significant way by not focusing on these areas of priority that would allow your business to catapult quicker. So hopefully that makes sense and answer your question. And if not, please let me know.
We have another question. Are there any free website creator programs / platforms? Small companies don't have a great deal of funds to pay for wow online websites, but need it the most. I believe Matt is
seems
raising
to
his hand.
have.
Yeah,
Yes.
actually, I can answer this one. So I want you to look into a couple of options. If you have a digital register, most digital register companies have an incredibly affordable option for a literally fully convertible platform. And that's just sort of geek for like ready to take everything you got in your register and put it on the web and sell it, which is great. Square is fantastic about that. So is Clover. They have a whole web integrated service. So that's what I'd recommend first. If you just want to get a really super affordable website up there, Facebook, first and foremost, Facebook and Instagram. Now, I know that's social media, not a website, but there's a lot of companies that are forgoing a website these days for social media. Is it a full substitute? No. Is it good? Yes. Do I have way more traffic on my social media than I have on my website? It's not even comparable. Website is important though, because obviously it's part of your performance and it will enhance your ratings on Google, and Google sends you money, not in the way of money, but in the way of customers. So you want to get Wix, Wix.com, and there's a few others. If you just Google free websites, they'll help you build it. You don't have to be a geek. It's fantastic. It's literally point, click, drag, move stuff around. It's super easy to do. There's a bunch of them out there. Wix is the one I have the most experience with. I also use Weebly, Weebly.com. It's another one that's low. It's not a cheap. It's cheap, not free. And I recommend cheap, not free, because we all know the cheapest is usually not very good. And that's what I have found, is that anybody who has a good program wants to charge for it because we're all in business. So those are the things I would recommend anyways on that note. As far as application for bang for buck, start in with your register first.
Cool. Thank you, Matt.
Absolutely.
All right.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah. Well, that was great, Esther. I think that we want to dedicate the last couple of minutes to Antoinette, so she can talk about, Antoinette is the Economic Development Manager for the City of St. Cloud, and she has an exciting opportunity for small businesses in St. Cloud and Kissimmee, specifically talking about GrowthWheel. So Antoinette, tell us about it.
Thank you, David. And by the way, I love the way you say my name with when you roll the R, the Antoinette.
Of course, Antoinette.
So what I'd like to do is kind of piggyback with saying and say that GrowthWheel is much more than a color-coded system. It's really an opportunity to provide in-depth one-on-one technical assistance training to our local businesses. This is a partnership agreement between Osceola County, the City of Kissimmee, and City of St. Cloud and the University of Central Florida Business Incubation Program to really help our local businesses. You know, one thing that keeps being reiterated here about cash being king, well, your local dollar stretches a lot further than you think. And it's important that we as local businesses and as economic developers really help our local businesses learn how they can establish business continuity, increase their preparedness, and reach the goal of long-term economic growth. So what GrowthWheel is while it may be a visual toolbox and online platform, what its purpose is to really help businesses make decisions and take action. So the City of Kissimmee and St. Cloud are partnering. We're putting our money where our mouth is. And what we like to do is partner together to help sponsor 20 companies between our respective cities, 10 in St. Cloud and 10 in Kissimmee, to receive this coaching that they can apply for. It's a 6-month pilot program. As I said, 10 companies from each city will be selected for a quote unquote scholarship. We say scholarship because this is obviously not free. The value of it is $1,500 per business. The cities in our respective agencies will like to sponsor our cities for the 6-month program. And at the end of the 6 months, we'd like the results to be reported with the objective to transform those quantitative data into a regional program. That regional program will be able to help businesses countywide. In order to participate, we're looking for companies who are somewhat established, at least 3 years in business and for-profit, non-franchisees, and really able to commit to 6 months of coaching. And when we say 6 months, we're really talking about, once a month for an hour or so, 2 coaching sessions a month for an hour each. It's customizable to your company. So, you won't get any cookie cutter advice here. It's very specific to what your needs are. And what we're trying to find out is where you are as a business now and how, the UCF incubator can really invest itself into your business and find out how we can transform it into something much larger and have much more longevity. So the businesses that are interested in participating, we're going to provide you with the link to apply. We'll also include that in an email that will be sent out in the near future between the next 2 days that will have that address link as well. It's an online application. We encourage as many businesses to participate as possible. I see that the link has already been put up in our chat box. We'll also send it in the next couple of days, along with a copy of this evening's PowerPoints and contact information for our speakers. As I said, this is a great opportunity for people to, really take advantage of a free technical assistance program for our businesses. We want to see our local businesses grow. They are part of the fabric of our economy. And with our local businesses, honestly, and I don't think it's any secret, that is the foundation of the U.S. economy. So we need to do what we can to help them not just survive this current state, but thrive in it. So that being said, David, would you be so kind as to share your screen again? There is a link in that presentation. And while you're doing that, I just want to also mention that we will begin accepting applications as early as tomorrow throughout the month of November, with this program starting in January. So if there's any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer them. But I really hope that everyone saw a benefit out of this evening's presentations. The purpose was to really do a paradigm shift to help businesses understand, for those who have not already, find different ways that they can re-evaluate their business, whether it's their structure, their operations, the logistics, their products, their sales, however, so that they can find new ways that they're able to, really acclimate to this new quote unquote normal, and then to go beyond that.
Great. This is a great opportunity for small businesses in Kissimmee and St. Cloud to take advantage of this assistance to go through the GrowthWheel business coaching program and apply for the scholarship. The link is on your screen. And again, we encourage businesses to, in the city of Kissimmee and St. Cloud, to apply and take advantage of this great opportunity. Esther, you have a comment?
Yeah, sure. So I just wanted to add that hopefully the assessment, the 360 assessment, was enlightening for everyone that took it. And so the idea is now to take those 2 to 4 areas of priorities that you selected for your business. And in this coaching program, we will create a strategic and tactical action plan to actually work with you to address those and make progress on those focus areas over the next 6 months. So it's a very targeted program, very action oriented, and it's really meant to get you from point A to point B and to move the needle in your business and economic development. So just wanted to tie that in as well.
Very good. Thank you, Esther, for that. And this concludes the webinar for tonight. Please remember this webinar will be posted in we'veopensafely.com in a couple of days, as well as information about the GrowthWheel pilot program and how to apply. We want to thank our partners, City of Kissimmee, City of St. Cloud, the UCF Business Incubation Program, the Kissimmee Osceola Chamber of Commerce, St. Cloud Chamber of Commerce, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, African American, Puerto Rican Chamber of Commerce, Prospera SBDC, and the 2 Main Street programs, the St. Cloud Main Street and Kissimmee Main Street, for their assistance in spreading the word about this important topic. So thank you again for joining, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
David, real quick, there was
Yep.
a request for Matt's information for those who'd like to try his products. So Matt, can you tell them how to do?
Unmute.
I wasn't prepared to do an advertisement. So, okay, so we're Accomplice Brewery and Cider Works. We are currently on tap in several places around St. Cloud. The Brews and Blues brings us on from time to time. Garage Bar has us currently as well. So if you're in St. Cloud, there are those locations. But we are opening our own facility that's going to be an Accomplice pop-up. Fingers crossed, so I don't jinx myself. You're going to learn that that's a business thing. In November, we should be opening up a pop-up, which I know it's November. So like I said, anyways, but we're hopefully, by the 3rd week, 4th week of November, we should have our tap room open there, where we'll also be doing some very exciting cider cocktails as well. So please come visit us there. If you want to try a delivery, if you just want to kind of check us out, www.accompliceBeverageCompany.com. So I know that's a nice, short, easy to remember address, but AccompliceBeverageCompany.com is the best place to go to get an idea of what we do. We have lots of really cool craft beverages as well. We try to keep our prices very affordable because we all need that right now too. So we're just trying to connect with everybody, and anybody who wants to support us, I really thank you for that. That means a lot to me. So thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you again to our panelists as well. I forgot to thank you very much for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge on these important topics. Thank you again, everybody.
Absolutely.
Have a great evening.